So I have a few stories that I want to tell on here. Um, this is Texas Toast, episode one. I'm your host, Ricky Garcia. Welcome to my humble little um, space. I've tried recording this video a few times, and the first time I tried, I just went off on a very, I mean, which is fine because this is supposed to be unscripted. This is not planned. I don't have anything pre-written, but I just went on this honestly pretty interesting rant um, about love and relationships and stuff, and I got kind of personal. But so it was like 30 minutes of that, but then I realized that I didn't have any true good form of audio, so you couldn't really hear me. I didn't have a microphone, and my dumbass turned on the fan that is right next to me right here because I was getting hot and I was being such a diva. And I turned on the fan, and you could hear me even less. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. But, anyways, that footage will probably never make the light of day. Um, and so I'm making this. But then I made one before just now, and then the cable I think is bad, and I moved it in a certain way. Thank God I only filmed like 5 minutes of that. And then it started making like a buzzing sound, and I started freaking out and having a panic attack. So then I stopped recording. So this is my third attempt at making this first episode. But anyways, you don't want to hear all that. Let's get to the juicy couture. Let's get to the amazing, wonderful, spectacular, adventurous world of Ricky Cinema, aka Ricky Garcia, aka sexyboy69, aka no, but seriously, just sit back and enjoy the night. It's not nighttime right now, but it's also not morning. That's all I'm going to say. In fact, I'm looking at the clock right now on my iPad, which is where I'm recording the audio from. It's 4, okay, it just changed to 4:45, but it was, I swear on everything, it was 4:44. So that's a good sign. We're on a good start here. The universe is on our side. Blessings are coming your way. So share this video when it comes out so that you can get um, $1 trillion in your bank account next week. Okay, story number one, and this is just the first story that comes to my head. Imagine you're about 20 years old. Let's say you're 21 years old, and you've dropped out of college, so you have no future, and your parents are disappointed in you, but they don't want to admit it. So they keep supporting you and they keep encouraging you to get a job, right? So, okay, you're not going to study, but you're going to work. Okay, cool. So then you find a job as a rug salesman slash, actually, I didn't sell a single rug to a single customer while I worked there. All I did was literally stand around, sweep the entire place, which thank God it wasn't that big, and there was just rugs everywhere. Okay, this is in my hometown, not in my hometown because I was born in Douglas. I wasn't born here in Tucson, but this place exists in Tucson somewhere. And yeah, they actually relocated. So, but I loved working there. By the way, I'm not bashing it. I'm not saying that this was a negative experience at all because it was actually super duper fun because I had a friend there that I think he got married and went to he got into the military, but he worked with me for a while. I think I got the job first, and then when he got the job, um, it was like I don't remember. Honestly, it's a blur, but yeah, this was like when I was like way younger. So I'm 28 now. So this was like, I want to say when I was 20, 21, 22. So like, anyways, let's say that you are a young buck, okay, and you happen to land a job at a rug store that sells uh, very, very fancy, top of the line, imported, huge, uh, luxurious, for the rich, um, $15,000 to $30,000 rugs, and your job is to kind of sweep up the place, dust off the things, kind of learn about the different patterns and the different styles and the different names for each rug. You also have to go on deliveries to deliver these rugs to houses that are pretty, you know, of people with wealth that have these houses. You go inside, you set up, you move, you have to move furniture, so you have to be able to lift a lot of weight. And so I would ride along with this guy. And mind you, I used to be like extra shy. Like, I think I'm shy and reserved now. Like, you should have seen me like way back then. I was extremely shy to the point where, and quiet, like I wouldn't say a single word, to the point where I would always fall asleep on the way because I just didn't feel like talking. So I just kind of pretended to fall asleep. And then eventually I did fall asleep a lot on the job. Like, but thank God I wasn't like, I don't know if you would consider that sleeping on the job, because the guy that I would run deliveries with, he would drive to and we would drive to and from the store and to people's houses. So, and it was long distances. So I just got really bored. First of all, I didn't feel like talking to the guy. He tried making conversation with me so many times. It was so awkward. And I was always staying up late anyway. So I was like super tired. I was just not feeling it. So I would just fall asleep. And then when we would get to the store, he would have to like nudge me and be like, all right, we're here. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. Okay. So imagine you work here, everything's chill, you get paid underneath the table. And so everything's chill. The job is fine. There was this guy in one of the departments. He was actually the dad of the guy that worked there for a little bit. He was like my friend, coworker's person. He was like he was like the only person, the son of this guy, by the way. He was like the only person that made the job fun. But his dad worked there. That's how he got the job. And what his dad would do is he would be in the workshop or whatever, and he would fix up all the little, because people's rugs would get like torn up, and like he would have to like stitch them and then like do the little thing. And then there was a Russian lady that would literally get drunk on the job. Sorry. She would I'm not kidding. She would literally put like vodka or whatever Russians drink, and she would put it in her like water bottle thing. In at the time, I don't think Stanley Cups existed, but it was like one of those kind of deals. And she would like just be drinking it, but she was the sweetest woman ever. She was super nice to me, and she was just like, but she was like troubled a little bit in the head, and she was like always like crying, and like I don't know, the boss would like yell at her and stuff. It was actually, the boss was like, which is the owner of the store, which is like, it's the name, like it's his rug store. He was nice to me, but I don't think he like was nice to women, which really sucked. But anyways, that's not why I'm telling you this. I want to talk about like my experience there, personally, specifically with a man named Dave. And I'll never forget the way he looked, his demeanor, his bald head, the way that he would speak to me. He was super duper chill, super nice guy. But he was also kind of like off, because he would tell me, he would just spill the beans on everything, pretty much everything that he thought were, he believed them to be like fact, right? But from the outside looking in, he was just like another conspiracy theorist, right? But he would like, we would be in the back room where we'd have lunch and stuff. And even while we were working, because there was a lot of downtime too, he would tell me a lot of things that and it's good because I've always been like a more of a listener than a talker. So I would just like not say anything and just stare at him and just like go like this and be like, yeah, Oh, okay. Oh, that's crazy. Because he would just be like going off on how FEMA camps, Walmarts are actually FEMA camps, and there's underground tunnels, uh, and the government is going to get rid of, uh, wants to get rid of the certain amount of the population by a certain year, and then like he would talk to me about Project Bluebeam. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with this stuff. I don't want to get into it that much. One thing that genuinely gave me chills recently, and he'll be on here one day. Maybe we'll get him on here. But there's this guy that I met at my church, also kind of like off, um, and he's actually the janitor at our church, and he I asked him because I wanted to kind of do like an introduction to him on a separate channel that I was gonna start. So then I set up a camera and I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna film us like talking. I'm gonna interview you real quick. Do you mind? Like I asked for his consent and permission. He was like, yeah, sure. But then he kept asking me, like, especially afterwards, after we filmed that little thing, which I deleted, by the way. I should have kept it, but which, by the way, that's not. I'm not saying I should have kept it because there was a lot of interesting or like really good stuff on that footage that I took, but it was more what he said off camera. So off camera, um, and even on camera, you can kind of tell by his like face and his reactions to the questions that I was asking him. But off camera, he kept telling me, he like before he left that night, he was like, um, he's like, Ricky, are you sure that I just want to make sure that you're gonna respect like my decision to not have this on the internet. I was like, yeah, for sure, I got you. And he was just so paranoid and like so worried about this information getting out or like people hearing him. And then he's like, okay, cool, yeah. He's like, yeah, I know that, they can hear us anyways. Like the government is like listening to us on our phones anyways. Like they're gonna hear this and find out about this anyways. But I just want to make sure that this. And also during while we were filming the video, I noticed after the fact when I was looking back at the footage because I was like literally editing it, and I thought about for a second maybe putting it out without him knowing, but I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. I'm actually gonna like respect his decision. But I noticed while I was looking back that he kept looking this way, and he would not have his face like look facing the camera because I had the angle so that it showed me and him. So he had his face kind of looking like this, and like he would never ever face the camera, and it was in such a way where you can barely like notice his like see his whole actual. It was just like his side profile. It was in his full face. So I was like, oh, okay, this guy does not want to be seen on the internet. But um, also another thing that he kind of told me off camera when I asked him, it what inspired me to even film him in the first place. In case you're wondering, is that we started having a casual conversation and it got really like conspiracy filled and like deep really fast out of nowhere. So I was like, oh, we should film this just in case, and because I like filming random stuff. So that's the reason for that. But while we were recording, what's it called? I mean, before we recorded, when we were just having a normal conversation off cameras, nothing, just literally just me and him in a room, just alone, right? He was like, I was like, he kept telling me about this plan. I forget the specifics, okay? Basically, from 1930 or something to like 2020. It's like, sorry, it's like 1950 or 1930 to 2030. They know, I guess the elites or whatever, whoever runs the world, like actually, they they already know exactly like everything that's going to happen. Like everything is pre-planned and like everything is already put in place for the new world order or whatever. And so and then so yeah, like when he told me that, I was so interested in it, and because I like people that kind of know what they're talking about, I can never like speak on that stuff because what if I get it wrong, or like I'm like misinformed and then I spread misinformation. I would never want to do that. But like this guy was like so deep into it, and he was just like telling me all these things, and that's why I was like, okay, let's get the camera on, let's record. And then when we were recording, um, I was like, is the, do you think, and I was kind of like low key, like trolling and like trying to be like funny or like exaggerating and trying to like just get a reaction out of him, like just laugh it off. So I was like, what do you think? Do you think the Illuminati is real? And then he like, I wish I still had the video. Obviously, I wouldn't even show it even if I did have it, but I just I would just get chills at the way that he would like react, like his face. Like you can tell when somebody's not lying or when somebody's about to like spill some really real stuff. And I could tell, I knew like that he was holding back on a lot of the things that he was saying because he's scared. And I started like thinking like really hard on that, and I was like, why why is he acting like this? Like could could people, do people get like, you know, for even mentioning the Illuminati or saying that it's real? But pretty much he was like, yeah, he's like, yeah, it's absolutely real. And then he kind of got into the whole like, and then I was like, can you expand more on the, 1930 or whatever to 2030 plan that they have? I think there's a name for it. I'm not sure, but yeah, there's like apparently everything's like already like planned and stuff. So, but going back to Dave, Dave was also like kind of out there with his ideas, and he pretty much, I'm telling you, like he didn't even predict, because it's not like it was a prediction like, oh, I think this is gonna happen. He like knew in his heart of hearts that all of this alien stuff, and like, yeah, all this alien stuff of like this stuff coming out in the public of like, oh, aliens are real, like the government admitting that they're real and that UFOs have visited or are visiting or whatever, or all the sightings that happened like earlier this year, late last year. He 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 would talk about that stuff, and he would be like, oh yeah, like you just wait. He's like, it's all gonna be like, after the alien thing, everything's gonna go to shit pretty much. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to touch on that. I think that's really interesting. And I hope you enjoyed this first episode. And yeah, share this. And if you don't share it, I'm going to personally come to your house and knock on your window and ask you to share it over and over again until you do what I say. Um, but yeah, thanks for watching.